Is going on, everyone? We are going to talk a little bit about Legion and kind of a couple of other things. It's a nice Wednesday afternoon. I wanted to do a little live stream to talk about something that was really small at first. Luke Eddy, uh, great guy, lead developer for Star Wars Legion right now, tweeted about a week ago. He tweeted that, hey, I just saw, and he was trying to tease everybody, and I didn't think a whole lot of it, but it was kind of all in good fun. But now I think it's worth revisiting. So basically, he tweeted, oh, I just saw the sculpts for redacted, comma, redacted, and redacted. And they're amazing. You're gonna love them, right? Or to paraphrase. So basically, he was tweeting that he just saw the sculpts for 3 new Legion expansions that have obviously not been revealed yet. And this was before Atomic Mass's live stream. So it was actually probably about 2 weeks ago. So it's a little bit older. And I kind of, a couple of people were like, oh, had the like the eyes wide open emojis and things like that. Bleed Green Productions jumping in with a super chat. How's it going, Bleed Green? So Luke Eddy tweeted basically the long and the short of it was that, hey, there's more stuff in the pipe, and some of these sculpts look amazing, and that's basically kind of was the takeaway at the time. Now, one of the things I was thinking about is like, well, there's still some things unannounced, so maybe he's talking about like the future expansions that we all know about. But here's the thing. There's 2 things that make me think he's not talking about the stuff that we kind of already knew about. First off, initially, what I was tempted to make a video about, because I even teased him, I tweeted at him, said, "Oh, I'm gonna have to make a video about this," and he said, "Oh, what have I done?" And I didn't want to like kind of tease him or like kind of rub his nose and like, "Oh, did you just let some details slip?" Because he didn't really, he was just teasing a little bit. But here's the interesting thing about all of this. He teased 3 expansions: redacted, redacted, and redacted. That doesn't mean that it was only 3 things that he looked at. There may have been more things, and he just, this is only so much you can tweet. Hi, everybody. What's going on? Thank you for joining us. So we're talking about this tweet that Luke Eddy, did a few weeks ago about having just seen, and I think this was about 2 weeks ago, he had just seen the sculpts for, 3 things that were quote-unquote redacted. And Luke Eddy is the lead developer for Star Wars Legion, so obviously it was Legion related. Now, here's where this gets interesting. 3 things is interesting because we had already, he obviously, wasn't talking about Lando or Callus. And so, and the reason I say that is because we had already seen the sculpts for Lando and Callus. They had been public for months by this point. So for 3 things, that made me think, we've only got 2 new trucks that we haven't seen the sculpts for yet at the time. And so I'm like, well, could it be those and one other thing? Well, that tells me automatically that there's new Legion product already kind of in development, which is a good thing. I mean, we could kind of assume that there was already stuff in the pipe, especially with Luke coming over, that the pipes would continue to kind of flow. And so I thought that was interesting. I also thought it was even more interesting after the Atomic Mass live stream, because this is where this got more, I guess the plot thickened a little bit. Because we don't know what they are yet. If you guys are joining in, I don't know what they are. We just know that there are more. They've been redacted, right? We don't know what they are. We just know that there are more things coming in. So after the Atomic Mass live stream, we saw, not only did we get a look at the sculpts for, for the new, well, we got the box art and stuff officially revealed. We also saw the sculpts for the AA5 speeder truck and the LAT LE. Here's my thought process on this. If they have those boxes in hand, that means Luke would have seen the sculpts for those months ago, like at least 6 months ago. So what I am thinking is the things that he just saw the sculpts for is stuff for much farther down the pipe, which tells us that there's a lot more stuff in development. Now, I'm curious what 3 sculpts he's talking about, like, and of course we can speculate, and this is kind of why I wanted to go live, because like, what would be 3 expansions for Legion that the sculpts would be so significant that he would kind of cause him to do some cryptic tweet. So if you guys are just joining in, We don't know what the new expansions are that are kind of in the pipe that are going to be coming, but it's good to see Luke Eddy tweeting about this. So a couple of weeks ago, Luke tweeted that there, 3 redacted expansions he just saw the sculpts for, and we're gonna love them. They're amazing. So that much is cool. Now I think that this was certainly post the announcement of Atomic Mass Games and Luke Eddy changing over. So this all has me thinking that like the Atomic Mass folks are now working on sculpts, which is pretty cool. And what would be some future things that they could be doing? You know, of course, me being the wishful thinker that I am, is certainly hoping that at least one of those redacted things was the AT-AT. I'd love to see like how they would do something like that. I'm curious the approach they might take, whether it be a scenario-driven thing or maybe an epic for a new format of play, like only for grand armies or something like that. Or if they would just make it, straight up in game, maybe it's stationary, or maybe it moves just really slow and has its own, special, unique profile. But what else would be something like great that sculpts would be really really cool for? Ahsoka from the chat. Yeah, Ahsoka would be a great option and somebody that would be really worthy of having a really excellent sculpt. She had a lot of very dynamic fighting poses, so she would be really fun. Rebels stuff. I think Rebels stuff is something that definitely is going to be coming. I don't know if too many of the characters from Rebels would really warrant a kind of a cryptic tweet about how amazing their sculpts are, though, because Kanan and Ezra are both. I think we have to get those, but they're still kind of just normal as far as their looks. Like there's nothing really to me standoutish about Kanan and Ezra's look. It's more about their character, and what they would be in the game that I think would be the more impressive part. The HMP droid gunship I think is a great option. So somebody said that in chat too. The HMP droid gunship would be a very very fun option to have shown up. Yeah, that would be interesting. If you're just joining us, basically, we don't know what's coming, but Luke Eddy did tweet a couple of weeks ago about 3 new things that he just saw the sculpts for. He sort of redacted the names of them, so he was just teasing us. But there is no doubt that there are 3 unreleased or unrevealed Legion. I would say even unleaked at this point. Because if he was talking about the heavy vehicles that they just revealed, well, he would have seen those sculpts months ago if they've already got finished product in hand by this point. So, but considering how long the development cycle is for Star Wars Legion, something to show up like in the box and like a production copy, and they have multiples of them too. I think Will Schick said he put multiples of these things together because they're probably going to be doing some painting and stuff like that on their live streams. So I don't think Luke was at all talking about the things that we've already seen. I think he was talking about stuff that's farther out, hence the redacted. And and even at the time that he tweeted this, while the AA5 speeder truck and the LAT LE weren't actually officially announced yet, I still don't think he was talking about those, just because you wouldn't have just seen those. Like the sculpt, at least. You would have seen the sculpt much earlier. So I think he was talking about, I think Luke Eddy was tweeting about 3 ships that were going to be farther in the future, which is pretty cool to see that. And basically the takeaway from this is that Atomic Mass is now working on sculpts, and some of them apparently have pretty much wowed Luke Eddy. So that's pretty cool, especially because we have already seen Legion kind of take leaps and bounds with its sculpts. I was looking at my original Stormtroopers from the core set, which is something else I want to talk about, and thinking, like, man, like they weren't bad, but they've come so far. Like, especially if you look at the Stormtrooper upgrade expansion, right, and how they're now in the hard plastic. Like, they're so much better than the first Stormtroopers, which leads me to a question. What would you guys think? What would you think if they re-released some of the original units, just as a re-release, but in hard plastic? Maybe change the packaging, like Stormtroopers, and maybe they're in different poses too, so it doesn't negate the value of the core set and the original. But maybe you get some Stormtroopers in different poses, but in the hard plastic and better quality. I would love to paint up a couple more Stormtroopers and have them in that higher quality plastic. And I would like that for eventually, depending on how successful that is, I wouldn't mind them moving on to snow troopers and fleet troopers and rebel troopers and things like that. But yeah, it would have to be different poses. I wouldn't want them to be in the exact same sculpts. And I wouldn't do anything mechanically different with them. I would like label it like Stormtrooper expansion, hard plastic alternate poses. And that's what I would do. I would love to see something like that, and eventually go on and do that. Because I think you need to probably do the Phase 1 clone troopers the same way, because weren't they also the soft plastic? And I think they could get the. I mean, granted that by then the soft plastic was still a lot better. It's just quality all around. Just keeps getting better and better. I think a really fun one from the early stuff would be to redo the Emperor's Royal Guard, or the Imperial Royal Guard. I think they could do some really dynamic IRG poses, especially if they wanted to kind of borrow some of the more dynamic fighting, poses that we've seen in a lot of Legends art from based on IRG. I think that would be really cool. I wouldn't mind seeing a lot more stuff like that. And that would be a fun way to get new product out that doesn't take a whole lot of game development time. You don't have to worry about balance issues. You don't have to worry about play testing. You don't have to worry about all of that stuff. So you can actually cut a lot of time out of the development process if you are doing re-releases with just new sculpts. So I would love to see that as an optional thing, and I don't think that would take time away from like a new wave development. But there are at least 3 more expansions coming. Now there could be more than 3. There's also the rumors that we'll see more cross-faction stuff, and I think that's a smart way to go for Star Wars Legion. Ship like with the LAT LE. How many of you guys were surprised that the LAT LE was a multi-faction thing? Like, that was really cool. Speaking of IRG Magna Guards, yeah, I think Magna Guards are definitely coming, and that's a good option too. Luke Eddy tweeting about the mystery stuff. It could have Magna Guard is a great possibility for one of the new expansions that would probably really benefit from having a fantastic sculpt between. Like, one of the cool things about the Magna Guards is that they're this cross between like a hard like droid skeleton, and so they get a lot of hard plastic straight parts, but then they've got that cloth mummy kind of look wrapped around them. So you have a good mix of like cloth goods and metallic skeleton. I think the sculpt on that could really impress a lot of people. I think that would be really, really fun. I'm also hoping to see Gungans. I've been hoping for Gungans for a long time, and so I think a Jar Jar Binks could be a really fun expansion for them to do. I'm going to draw your attention a little bit to Marvel Crisis Protocol, because Deadpool. If you guys haven't pay attention to Marvel Crisis Protocol, they announced Deadpool, like they teased him a little bit back at Gen Con, and more recently he has been more formally announced, and he is kind of like a big kind of jokey different type of expansion. They've given him different head sculpts, so he's got like the hearts for eyes, and he's got this really elaborate base, and he is very much different than a lot of the other characters, and in a very fun, breaking the fourth wall kind of way. And I think they could do something not exactly the same, but maybe borrow a page from that book to do Jar Jar Binks, and that he could be very different and kind of fun. And I would also imagine he might have several different sculpt options. He could be somebody who's got a regular war pose, or maybe he's falling down pose, like he's losing his balance, like wah! Like that'd be a really fun option. Or I could just see him kind of just walking, kind of like walking with the floppy arms and stuff like that. Like, I could see like at least 3 different ways to do Jar Jar Binks, or maybe a 4th if you wanted to do him as a senator. Right? I don't think I'd want him that way. But do you think the miniature quality will be worse under Atomic Mass Games? No, I think there's no reason to think that at all. I think the Atomic Mass Games has great quality miniatures. I really like the Marvel Crisis Protocol miniatures. I think they're doing a great job with those. And if anything, at worst case scenario, they will maintain the same level of quality. I don't think anything is going to go downhill under AMG. And keep in mind too that the very next wave of stuff you get is still going to be FFG produced, right? So all like the trucks that are coming, probably whatever comes right after that was probably still made by FFG. I'm thinking about the wave after that, and I think that's maybe what Luke was talking about. Some brand new stuff that they're finally collaborating on and getting sculpts done. It's all a really pretty cool thing. It's interesting trying to predict to when the atomic mass game stuff is really going to show up. We saw a little bit of that within their live stream. They're saying it won't be until 2022 before we actually see stuff that's produced and designed and developed by Atomic Mass Games. And that's fair predictions. There could also be more Legion stuff coming out in in the later half of 2021. We have kind of projections for all the Star Wars games going up until what May, and then after that, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. That's a big chunk. I'm sure that there's more stuff coming out in those months that they just haven't announced yet. So that will also be really interesting, and I'm sure we'll probably hear about it. You'll probably hear about it from me long before you hear about it from Atomic Mass Games, what with all the rampant leaks of Lion Rampant distributor, and then of course other places too. If it's not distributors leaking it, it's somebody over in Europe kind of leaking it. If you guys did just join, I'll do a kind of a little summary. Basically, a couple of weeks ago, Luke Eddy, who's the lead developer for Star Wars Legion, did some cryptic tweets talking about 3 expansions that he just got to see the sculpts of, and that they were amazing. And he put but he worded it in a way like, I just got to see redacted, and redacted, and oh my gosh, they were amazing. Referring to sculpts for upcoming Legion product that we haven't seen. And he was trying to kind of tease the people who follow him on Twitter, and I kind of made the joke at the time that, I'm going to make a video about this. And I didn't right away. But now that we've seen that, and I think the thing that kind of made me want to kind of go back and talk about this is, I thought there was a chance that it may have meant at least one new expansion, because I thought he may have been talking about the AA5 speeder tank and the LAT LE. But then only like a few days later, they had the live stream, and it turns out they had those physical products in hand already. So I think if that's the case, he would have seen those sculpts months and probably 6 months in advance. So I think just to be kind of excited about something that you're seeing as a developer for the first time, it couldn't be something that's getting ready to come out in a few months. It probably is something that's probably about a year out. So I think Jabba on his throne. And so right now we're talking about speculation as to what that might have been. So yeah, that could be a good one. Clone Commandos would be a cool one. I would like to see Clone Commandos. Jabba would be a fun one. Yoda would be tough, right? He's gonna be so small. I think Yoda is a really good option for for Atomic Mass to do. If you look at how they do all of their Crisis Protocol minis with their dynamic poses and stuff, like here's one I'm working on right now. This is Angela from the Spawn comics. Like, she's flying, she's in the air, and she's just using, they use part of her her tails or whatever to kind of propel her off of the base. But you could do something like that with Yoda. Or other ones like Enchantress here, who is also flying, and she's kind of held up by the flame and her magic. And Legion doesn't usually do that. They normally do the flight stands and stuff like that. But I could see Yoda kind of either being on a flight stand or like swinging his lightsaber and having like particle effects. If they do Clone Wars Yoda, some people don't like the whole Yoda with a lightsaber thing. Some people prefer Yoda without the lightsaber. And I think the difference is that maybe you'll get Yoda for the Rebels as Old Man Yoda without the lightsaber, and maybe you'll get Yoda with the lightsaber for the Clone Wars. I wonder if when they do Yoda also, if they will even Yoda as Clone Wars Yoda with a lightsaber didn't always have to bring it, and I wonder if there will be some real incentive to not bring Yoda with a lightsaber. Like, maybe his lightsaber is going to be very expensive, and so like if you want to have Yoda go into battle, maybe his lightsaber will be like 30 points. Maybe he's a really good person to bring without the lightsaber, just kind of by himself. It'll be interesting. I'm curious how well they'll do something like that. And if I think they'll give him a basic ranged attack that'll be like a force push. I think they'll, like, it probably will be like kind of like Dooku's lightning, but basically like do a damage to somebody and then do a speed 1 move with them, or something like that. Like, I think that could be really fun. But maybe it has a max of only 1 damage that it can do, but also pushes them back. I don't know, but something like that would be pretty fun. But yeah, I'm really curious what the new expansions are going to be. It's good to know, and I think the big takeaway from all of this is it's good to know that stuff is being worked on. I think some people were expecting a whole lot more news out of the recent live stream, and I've talked about this in my last stream, talking about like I think some people had expectations that were way too high, but it's good to know that they're at work and things are progressing, and the pipes and the distribution chains and all of that stuff is in the in the process of being able to be restocked, and the channels are going to flow, and we're going to start seeing new product again. We just have to be patient. I'm pretty sure that the announcement to the decision to move all these Star Wars games over to AMG took everybody involved by surprise. I have, out of everyone I have talked to regarding this, nobody, and I'm not going to name any names, but I've talked to a lot of people about this. Nobody saw this coming. This took everybody by surprise, and so while some people are criticizing Atomic Mass Games for it, I don't think Atomic Mass Games knew that this was happening either. I think somebody at the top just made this decision and said, boom, this is going to happen. And they're like, how the heck are we going to do this? Okay. Okay. I guess we're going to do this. And they're trying to do, so I'm personally, I'm allowing for, a big delay in the chain. Like I think 2021 is going to be a year, especially the second half of 2021, where we see much less product than we have been accustomed to. Armada players won't have to worry about that because we're going to see the same, if not more, product than we're accustomed to in a standard calendar year. However, that's a unique problem for Armada, just having a very, very, very slow release schedule. X-Wing is starting to see it. X-Wing is starting to see some slowdown in what they had gotten used to. Of course, X-Wing lost their developers also, but Legion at least is gonna have the advantage of having Luke Eddy on board with the team. Did you know that Legion is not being distributed in Brazil anymore? I think I've heard something about that. I really don't really know much about how international stuff works. Maybe things will get changed once once Atomic Mass kind of gets everything lined up. And I feel like what it is right now is like they're trying to fill up. Imagine you've got a machine where a bucket fills up with water, pours into another bucket, fills up with water, pours into another bucket, fills up with water, and then eventually, fills your glass or something like that. When they gave Atomic Mass all of this stuff, imagine like all the buckets were empty or almost empty. Like they emptied them out before they gave them to them. So now they have to start filling up the first bucket, and then the second bucket. Kind of like, hey, we need to design new content, and we need to hire new people. And get play testers and get and figure out what our scope is, and then we need to hire the people, develop the new expansions, and then we need to get them play tested, and then we need to get them get models designed, then we need to get them into the production, and then distribution, and then finally to stores, and then articles announcing this and when it's going up for pre-order, and then keep that whole chain going. I think by the time that they get all of those buckets kind of full and flowing into a system, and then not only that whole chain is just one game. They got 3 games, so they got 3 chains of buckets that they've got to fill up, right? I think once all of those get flowing and they figure out, okay, what's a good rate to be able to release consistent new content. Are we going to be able to do it every month? Are we going to be able to put out content as fast as Marvel Crisis Protocol? Probably not. But once they get all of those going, I think then they can probably address distribution issues and certain countries. I know there was also a lot of people talking about like the translations for games into other languages, and then there was the petition for Italy, I believe, and so there's a lot of issues like that. And now I understand why a lot of things kind of got left out and kind of passed over and forgotten, is because somebody at the top was like, well, we're just going to push these all over to a new studio anyway, so let's not try and do too much more with the Fantasy Flight kind of name attached to it. So I think 2022 is probably the earliest that you can really expect some meaningful change for all of those kind of global issues that are affecting the games, if you guys are looking for it. I did promise somebody a killer ramen noodle recipe today. So like right now, like for like the next 5 minutes, I'm gonna totally change things up, and we're gonna come back to Star Wars. I'm gonna totally change things up. We're gonna talk about the best lunch ever, since it is lunchtime. And a lot of people, everybody universally enjoys ramen, whether it's regular ramen from like a restaurant with the soupy kind of ramen or the noodly kind of ramen. I know I'm totally going off script, right? So because I was talking about this earlier when I was saying I was going to go live stream in my Discord. By the way, if you guys aren't already in Discord, hop in Discord. I do giveaways on my live streams sometimes, and sometimes I will also say, all right, this one's going to be in Discord. The last one actually just got announced. Those winners got. Well, I don't know if they got them yet. They were mailed out like 2 days ago. So, in 6 weeks or however long it takes the post office to get there, you'll get your stuff. But I was talking with Discord about ramen right when I was getting ready to talk about going live. And here's the ramen recipe. You get yourself a pack of ramen noodles. Like in America, they come in these little plastic bags and they're like rectangles, right? I like to do 2 of them sometimes, but that's only when I'm eating carbs. And I'm not doing carbs so far this year. I'm pretty good on carbs for the most part. But when I am doing a little bit of carbs, I get ramen. Sometimes I'll do 2 packs, but most people, 1 pack is probably fine. I boil it, I kind of drain it to where there's very, very little water left. Just enough to where I put it back on the pot. It's kind of steamy. I probably have like maybe 2 tablespoons of water still left in the pot. Very little. Then I throw the packet, that seasoning packet, I throw that away. I'm never going to use those again. I had 3 things. I get some, first off, peanut butter. Get about a heaping teaspoon of peanut butter. Throw that in there. Next, soy sauce. A couple of dashes of soy sauce, probably about a tablespoon of soy sauce. Throw that in there. Then the last one is a squirt of sriracha. Mix those up, keep them on high. With a little bit of water that was still in there will kind of help blend and turn all of those 3 ingredients into this amazing peanut sauce. It's kind of got a Thai flavor to it. And my goodness, it turns ramen, which is usually like kind of a cheap thing, into this like luxury designer lunch. It is the ultimate. It's the best, and I promise you, unless you have like a peanut allergy or something like that, you're gonna love it. So that's the ultimate lunch from Chef Crabbok. It's the double critical ramen. Anyway, we're gonna get back on Star Wars now. If you guys are just joining us, it has peanut butter. How can you not like peanut butter? I love peanut butter. Peanut butter is like my favorite thing ever. But yes. Well, if you have a peanut allergy, I don't know. You could probably try with cream cheese instead of peanut butter. I don't know how well that would work. I don't know if it would blend the same way. It is a little bit weird. It sounds weird, but once you taste it, it'll make a believer out of you. Those 3 ingredients really work together very, very well. I mean, a lot of Thai food has peanut sauce. And it's based on a lot of the same things. So the soy sauce and the peanut butter really go well together. You get a little bit of the salty and then a little bit of sweet, because peanut butter is not like super sweet. But yeah, it's really good. All right, so back to Star Wars. If you guys are just joining in, we were talking a little bit about Luke Eddy giving us some cryptic tweets a couple of weeks ago about 3 more Legion expansions, which he redacted the names of, so we don't know what they are. But he was just talking about how he saw the sculpts and how incredible they were. So that's exciting, and obviously it wasn't anything that's already been revealed. So there's 3 more things that are still coming. Now he did tweet this before they revealed the speeder tank and the Lat LE. But I'm pretty sure he wasn't talking about those, because he would have seen those sculpts months ago while they were in kind of development. If they already got the production copies in hand, that means he probably saw them probably a year ago. He probably saw them at least a year ago. So he's probably talking about stuff that we're going to see in 2022. And so basically, if anybody who was worried about like, oh, is the AMG not going to be making, so how long is it going to take? There's definitely stuff that's already in the pipe. There's definitely, they're at work, they're putting things together. It's very exciting. And so we've been kind of speculating on what are some of the things that we might see. And, it's fun. I love to speculate. I mean, the double critical mentality is all about what would be the craziest, wildest thing, and how can we kind of make it a reality, right? So like the AT-AT is, I think, the perfect example of something that seems like it's over the top and couldn't ever actually fit into the game. But I think if we really think about it, there's so many different ways we can try to make something like that work. Is Ahsoka coming for the Republic in 2021? I don't think Ahsoka's coming for the Republic in 2021. I think she's coming in 2022. I think we'll see Ahsoka in 2022. First off, Ahsoka's a sure thing. A sure thing. She's the most popular character in all of the Clone Wars by a long shot. She has to show up. That being said, I think they wanted to get her just right. I also think we'll see multiple versions of Ahsoka. I think we will see Ahsoka as like teenager or kid. Like, well, I think we'll see a Clone Wars Ahsoka, and I think we'll see an adult Ahsoka for the Rebels. I think we'll see an adult Ahsoka for the Rebels, and I think that's going to be a beautiful thing. And I think they'll each have command cards that will allow you to use both. I think the Rebel Ahsoka will be a commander, and I think the clone Ahsoka will be an operative. That's what I think. It's going to allow Ahsoka. That will one really cool thing is that will allow you to run Obi-Wan, Anakin, Padme, and Ahsoka, which would be really cool. You know what else I wouldn't mind seeing? I would love to see kind of like teenage Ahsoka show up for the Clone Wars. You know what that's... But, hear me out. Imagine if Ahsoka comes with another card as an option to field her as a younger, like, Season 1 kind of apprentice. Like, kid Ahsoka. Because Ahsoka grows during the Clone Wars. So I'd rather have like maybe a Season 5 or 6 or 7 version of Ahsoka as her miniature, as her own unit card. But what if she came with a detachment card? Detachment Anakin Skywalker. What if she came with a detachment card for Anakin Skywalker, and the art was like the movie Ahsoka, or like the little kid Ahsoka, like when she first met him, right? And she's by his side the whole time. This way you could still field her, you know, as his younger apprentice, or you can run her by herself as she's a little older and she'd be stronger. This would allow her to be like a little bit weaker as a detachment, but she'd still be really cool. I think that would be really fun. I think that'd be really fun. Plus, if you're also trying to get max number of heroes on the field, I think that'd be... So I would love to see something like that. I'd like for them to do more with detachments too. I think it's a really easy way to just add somebody else to another unit. I think they should do that with Rebels too. I think you should be able to get like Chewie as a detachment to Han, as opposed to having to have Chewie by himself. You know, I think that'd be a fun way to kind of improve your hero building, especially when they want, eventually when they want to do Star Wars Rebels as well. I think, yeah. So, yeah. Well, all right, guys, that's about it. A shorter stream today. I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the Legion expansions. So if you guys just joined late, Luke Eddy tweeted that there were 3, sculpts he just saw, and they looked great, and we would love them whenever they came out. And basically, he redacted what they were called, and this was a couple weeks ago, but it was long before the AMG live stream, so I know he wasn't really talking about the 2 heavies that we just saw, because first off, he said 3 things, and he would have seen these heavy sculpts like probably a year ago when they were in development. So I think he's talking about stuff that's coming soon, that hopefully Atomic Mass is working on these sculpts, and you know, and also I take this as a good sign that Atomic Mass Games is putting some really nice things together for us. So I'm really curious to see how it'll look. I wonder if they'll change the packaging at all. I think they'll mostly just put the logo on there. I don't think they'll change the design of the packaging too much, but they have already changed the design of the packaging with Star Wars Legion, so who knows what will happen again in the future. They do packaging redesigns periodically, so what? We'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right, guys, that's all I've got for you today. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. Be sure to join my Discord. How many of you guys are not in Discord yet? There's links down in the video description. Hop in Discord, talk some more about it there. Also, you can head over to crabbok.com, get the free Legion AI system if you ever want to play by yourself, if you want to play against yourself. I've got some more Legion stuff coming. I've got some more free... I got another free Legion expansion coming for you guys here pretty soon, but you have to wait to hear about that. I will talk to you guys later. I want to thank you so much, and as always, have a great day. See ya. Thanks for hanging.